Well, I was thinking about computers this week, something I try not to do with any regularity. I was cleaning up around my desk, just thinking about computers and how they make everything so much easier, which is both good and bad. Computers spare us some drudgery and make it possible to accomplish more work. Before we had computers, it used to take me 3 to 4 weeks to spend my paycheck. With a computer, I can now blast through my paycheck in a day or two, just that quick. Computers also make it easier to communicate with people, which is good. When I wanted to send out a message about cake fry earlier this week. On the other hand, it makes it possible to send people nasty emails. Before I had email and was mad at someone, I had to go find a piece of paper and a pen that worked and an envelope, track down their address, and write them a letter telling them they were mad and going to hell. It was a lot of work to be mad in the old days. I'd write the letter, which sometimes took hours, and then put it in my desk for the night, because that's what you do when you write a hard letter. You put it in your desk for a night, and let it season. And then by the time I got up the next morning, I wasn't upset, and I threw the letter away. Now with email, I can fire off angry letters right and left, leaving a trail of bruised and broken bodies in my wake. I got an email like that this week. A man who I don't know wrote to tell me he'd read all my books and sermons, but no more. It was over. I'd made a joke about Florida, saying the good thing about climate change is that the rising ocean levels will eventually sweep Florida out to sea. And he took offense to that. You know, times are tense when you can't tell Florida jokes anymore. His email went on and on, accusing me of various sins and shortcomings, then ended by calling me a humanist, as if that were a curse word. It sent me to the dictionary to look up the word humanist, which is defined as someone who has a strong interest in or concern for human welfare, values, and dignity. I thought, wow, that's a lovely thing to be a humanist. I was flattered. It's the nicest thing anyone has said to me in quite a while. So I emailed him back to thank him for calling me a humanist. I do indeed have a strong interest in or concern for human welfare, values, and dignities. I told him, thank you for noticing. It was kind of you to say so. He wrote back, saying he didn't mean it as a compliment. But how is being called a humanist not a compliment? How is that not a compliment? Some of the people I admire most in the world have a strong interest in or concern for human welfare, values, and dignity. I'm thinking of Socrates and Aristotle and Margaret Bell and John Woolman and Abraham Lincoln and Gandhi and Eleanor Roosevelt and Helen Keller and Martin Luther King Jr. and Jesus. Jesus. We mustn't forget Jesus, who after all told his followers to love their neighbors as they loved themselves. Now I know what that man meant to say. I know what he meant to say, because I've heard television evangelists rail against humanism. He meant to say I was an ungodly, New Age heretic who believed in evolution. That's what he meant by humanist, but that is not the correct definition of humanism, which I also told him in my reply. And then I mentioned that Jesus was a humanist, And that's when he told me I was going to hell. We too should have a strong interest in and concern for human welfare, values, and dignity, just like Jesus did. In fact, I'm starting to believe in humanism so much, I think it should be a requirement for anyone wanting to join the church. From what I've seen, Christians who aren't humanists have a lot of hope. I think anyone who is Christian should be concerned for human welfare, values, and dignity. That seems reasonable, doesn't it? That Christians would believe that. If Christians in Germany had been humanists in the 1930s, Hitler would have been diagnosed as the troubled soul he was and given therapy. If Christians in the South had been humanists, slavery would never have been, which means the Civil War would never have been waged, which means the racial animus that still divides our nation would never have existed if Christians had been humanists. If Christians in Russia were humanists, children in Ukraine would be playing on playgrounds right now, instead of huddling in basements with the debris from bombs raining down on their Huntston uniforms. We could all use a little humanism these days. I heard a woman say the other day that the greatest problem in the world is that too many people aren't Christians. I think our greatest problem is that not enough people are humanists. That there's not enough concern for human welfare, values, and dignity. We have too many Christians who aren't good humanists, too many Muslims who aren't good humanists, too many Jewish people who aren't good humanists, too many Hindus who aren't good humanists, too many atheists and agnostics who aren't good humanists. I want to be a good humanist, just as Jesus was. Humanist. Think of that word for a minute. It's related to the word humane. Now there's a lovely word, humane. Having or showing compassion or benevolence. When I was a kid, I spent a lot of time in the woods, and I wanted to be a forest ranger when I grew up. And then I became a Quaker and thought it would be fun to be a Quaker pastor. And then I started writing and thought it would be fun to be a writer. But now I want to spend the few decades I have left as a humanist, showing compassion and benevolence, having a strong interest in human welfare, values, and dignity. I was texting earlier in the week with one of my favorite humanists in all the world, Mark Striedelmeyer. That great humanist, mystic, and winner of the Columbus, Indiana Reader's Gazette subscription contest as a child, for which he won a baby pig. Didn't know that I knew that about some things here. So we were discussing humanism, and I was wondering what God thought of humanism. And Mark said, don't forget, it was God who put humans in the center of the garden. Isn't that a lovely thought? It's God who put humans in the center of the garden. Now, if someone asks you what religion you are, you can tell them you're a Quaker. But you know what happens when you tell people that? As sure as God made little green apples audience, they won't know what that means. So you can save yourself a lot of trouble and tell them you're a humanist, a devotee of the first religion instituted by the Lord God Almighty some 300,000 years ago. You can tell them you're a card-carrying member of the beloved offspring of God, starting smack dab in the center of Eden. You can tell them that. Of course, then they're going to ask you what humans believe, and now you know what to say. You look right in the eye, and you say, I believe you are my brother, or my sister, or my sibling, whichever the case may be. And I have a strong interest in your welfare, worth, and dignity. Then you can prove it. Then you can prove it. By loving them as you love yourself. Well, when I was visiting with Kay the other day, we talked a bit. I talked, she listened because her speech is so garbled I couldn't understand what she was saying. And we did that for probably a half hour or so, and then she reached over and took my hand. I was seated right beside her, and we just spent about 5 minutes in quicker worship, just sitting quietly in her room. And then for the first time in our visit, she spoke absolutely clearly. She looked at me and she said, this week, friends, let your love for another be spoken clearly. Don't assume they know it or can sense it. Speak it clearly to those you love and to those who need you. This is our glorious work. We are privileged to do. Turn to me, friends.